Step into the action-packed and thought-provoking world of Kung Fu, 1972 to 1975, the groundbreaking series that combined martial arts mastery with timeless wisdom and unforgettable storytelling. The show introduced audiences to a unique blend of action, philosophy, and character-driven drama, brought to life by a talented cast whose performances left a lasting mark on television history. Sadly, many of these beloved actors have tragically passed away, leaving fans to remember not only their on-screen brilliance but also the remarkable lives they led off-screen. Join us as we honor the Kung Fu cast, explore their careers, reflect on their enduring legacy, and celebrate the profound impact they made on generations of viewers around the world. David Carradine was born on December 8, 1936, in Hollywood, California, and took on the role of Kwai Chang Caine in Kung Fu in 1972 at the age of 36. On screen, Caine was a serene Shaolin monk whose wisdom, restraint, and martial arts mastery stood in stark contrast to the violence of the American frontier, and his calm, introspective presence captivated audiences, creating an enduring cultural icon. Behind the serene facade, Carradine's life was turbulent and complex. Born into the Carradine acting dynasty, he experienced a fractured childhood marked by his parents' divorce, a lack of emotional support, and periods in foster care and boarding schools, all of which instilled in him both resilience and a lifelong struggle with abandonment and self-worth. Early brushes with the law, repeated expulsions from school, and an innate rebellious streak set the stage for a life punctuated by experimentation with drugs and alcohol, tumultuous romantic relationships, and brushes with public scandal. Professionally, Kung Fu brought both fame and pressure. Carradine navigated the challenges of network television, often clashing with producers over creative control, while simultaneously dealing with the typecasting and public scrutiny that fame imposes. His personal life was punctuated by multiple failed marriages, custody battles, and periods of isolation, yet he continually sought reinvention, ultimately revitalizing his career in the 1990s through roles in Kill Bill and various independent films, where his skill as a martial artist and actor was widely recognized. Carradine died on June 3, 2009, in Bangkok, Thailand, at 72, from accidental asphyxiation. At the time of his death, his net worth was approximately $500,000, a modest sum relative to his cultural impact, yet his legacy endures through the indelible combination of charisma, philosophy, and martial arts mastery he brought to audiences worldwide, leaving a haunting and complicated imprint on both Hollywood and popular culture. Kai Luk was born on June 18, 1904, in Canton, China, and assumed the role of Master Pa in Kung Fu in 1972 at age 68. Master Pa, the blind Shaolin priest, was a figure of gentle wisdom and poetic insight, whose cryptic parables and serene demeanor guided Caine's moral and spiritual journey, making the character one of the most memorable mentors in television history. Luke's path to this role was shaped by early displacement, cultural transition, and persistent racial prejudice. His family immigrated to the United States when he was a child, and he navigated life as an Asian American during a period when opportunities were scarce and discrimination widespread. He endured financial and social hardships, balancing the need to assimilate with the preservation of his cultural identity, experiences that lent depth and authenticity to his performances. Professionally, Luke broke significant barriers, becoming one of the first Asian American actors to achieve sustained prominence in Hollywood, yet he faced relentless typecasting, being offered only stereotypical roles and often reduced to minor parts in mainstream productions. Beyond acting, he pursued art, working as a muralist and illustrator, and used his influence to advocate for broader representation of Asian Americans in media, though his efforts were often met with institutional resistance. Luke lived a life largely free of scandal, yet the cumulative weight of navigating systemic prejudice, cultural dislocation, and professional obstacles shaped both his temperament and his artistry. He passed away on January 12, 1991, in Whittier, California, at the age of 86 due to a stroke. His net worth at death was modest, likely under $1 million, reflecting decades of dedicated work rather than commercial wealth. His enduring legacy lies not in financial accumulation but in his cultural impact, the pioneering visibility he provided for Asian American actors, and the artistic integrity and mentorship he brought to generations of performers who followed, leaving an indelible imprint on both the craft and the social consciousness of American entertainment. Philip Ahn was born on March 29, 1905, in Los Angeles, California, and portrayed Master Ken in Kung Fu in 1972 at the age of 67. On screen, Master Ken was the strict yet compassionate elder whose philosophical guidance and disciplined instruction provided the foundation for Kane's moral and martial development, establishing a tone of gravitas and integrity that anchored the series. Ahn's life behind the camera was defined by perseverance and advocacy in the face of systemic discrimination. The son of Korean immigrants, he grew up immersed in cultural pride yet acutely aware of racial barriers in America. He faced repeated typecasting, often forced to portray Japanese villains despite his Korean heritage, and endured threats and professional limitations during World War II due to anti-Asian sentiment. Personal hardships, including the responsibility of supporting family members and honoring his father's activism for Korean independence, compounded the pressures of maintaining a career in Hollywood while preserving cultural identity. Nevertheless, Ahn forged a pioneering path as the first Korean-American actor with sustained visibility in U.S. film and television, balancing entrepreneurial pursuits, such as a family-run restaurant, with a career that spanned decades of supporting and authoritative roles. Professionally, he was known for his unwavering work ethic, moral integrity, and mentorship to younger Asian American performers navigating Hollywood's narrow corridors. He died on February 28, 1978, in Los Angeles at the age of 72 from surgical complications, leaving a net worth estimated between $1 to $2 million, accrued from decades of acting and business ventures. Ahn's legacy is both material and cultural. He opened doors for minority representation, established standards of dignity and resilience, and left behind a body of work that remains influential in conversations about race, identity, and representation in American media, marking him as a trailblazer whose impact extends far beyond his on-screen performances. Tad Harino, born Tadashi Harino on August 14, 1921, appeared in Kung Fu in 1973 at age 52 as cowled head and later as a chemist, portraying characters who radiated quiet mystery and subtle wisdom, perfectly complementing the show's meditative, martial arts ethos. On screen, he was enigmatic, often carrying an aura of spiritual depth that drew audiences into the layered, sometimes haunting narrative of wandering monks and moral dilemmas. Harino's childhood in Seattle was fraught with adversity. A Japanese-American born into a working-class family, he faced racial discrimination, social exclusion, and economic scarcity during the Great Depression, forcing him to develop an early sense of self-reliance and emotional restraint. These formative experiences were compounded by the trauma of being interned during World War II under Executive Order 9066, a dark chapter that left enduring psychological scars and shaped his lifelong commitment to dignity, resilience, and understated expression. Professionally, Harino endured the limitations imposed on Asian American actors, often typecast into minor or background roles, and he struggled against Hollywood's persistent stereotyping while building a body of work across television and film including MASH, Red Sonja, and Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. Personal tragedies, dislocation, the silent grief of internment, and the constant negotiation of identity were met with quiet fortitude, as he neither courted scandal nor sought public attention, instead channeling experiences into performances suffused with gravitas. In the final decades of his life, Harino remained a steady, respected presence on screen, mentoring younger actors and maintaining the dignity of a career forged against systemic bias. He died on March 10, 2002 in Los Angeles from a heart attack at age 81, leaving a modest estate likely under $1 million, yet a legacy of resilience, cultural contribution, and the subtle power of nuanced character work that quietly influenced American television storytelling. Victor Sun-young, born October 18, 1915, appeared in Kung Fu in 1972 at age 57 as Tamo and Chu, lending his characters a grounded wisdom and measured patience that echoed his earlier roles in Charlie Chan and Bonanza. On screen, he projected both caution and authority, a figure deeply rooted in tradition and moral fortitude, providing a counterpoint to the restless energy of younger protagonists. Sun Young's childhood in San Francisco was marked by racial prejudice and economic hardship as the son of Chinese immigrants, forcing him to navigate a world that repeatedly diminished his identity while cultivating resilience and a quiet dignity. His life was punctuated by defining events: service in the U.S. Army Air Forces during World War II, overcoming the frustrations of typecasting in Hollywood, and enduring the stress of navigating a career as one of the few visible Asian American actors of his era. Tragedy struck with his untimely death from accidental gas poisoning in North Hollywood around January 11, 1980, discovered days later, a grim echo of the precariousness that haunted many immigrant families. Despite these challenges, Sun Young rebuilt his life through artistic dedication, becoming a published cookbook author and mentor to younger performers, leaving behind a cultural imprint that transcended the modest financial rewards of his career. His net worth at death was likely under $1 million, yet his enduring influence lies in breaking barriers for Asian American actors, exemplifying perseverance in the face of systemic discrimination, and leaving a body of work that still resonates in representations of dignity, honor, and cultural integrity on screen. Tim McIntyre, born on July 19, 1944, appeared in Kung Fu in 1973 at age 29 as Daniel Cain, the emotionally torn long-lost brother of Kwai-Chang Caine, also portraying Deputy Mitchell in select episodes. On screen, Daniel's struggle with identity, loyalty, and moral ambiguity added intense psychological depth to the series, creating a lingering tension that captivated viewers while highlighting the personal sacrifices of life on the frontier. Born in Yock, Montana, McIntyre grew up as the son of actors John McIntyre and Jeanette Nolan, yet his childhood was far from idyllic. The pressures of being part of a theatrical family, constant relocations, and a strict household fostered early insecurities and a need to prove himself, both in performance and in private. Tragedy and volatility followed him into adulthood, while he demonstrated extraordinary talent as an actor and musician, composing soundtracks for films like Jeremiah Johnson and performing in American Hot Wax and Brubaker. He endured the collapse of his independent music label, ongoing health challenges, and periods of professional instability that threatened to eclipse his artistry. McIntyre's personal life was punctuated by the intensity of working alongside his parents, the pressures of Hollywood expectations, and the struggle to assert his individual creative identity in the shadow of familial fame, leading to moments of isolation and quiet frustration. He responded to these challenges with relentless dedication, expanding his skill set into music composition and complex character work, yet his career trajectory was ultimately curtailed by declining health. McIntyre died on April 15, 1986 in Los Angeles, California, at age 41 from congestive heart failure, leaving a modest net worth likely under $1 million. A reflection of a career rich in artistic innovation but truncated by personal and health crises. His legacy remains in his layered performances, the haunting emotional resonance he brought to the Caine family saga, and the musical contributions that continue to echo the depth of his creative spirit. Richard Liu, born January 10, 1903 in Maui, Hawaii, appeared in Kung Fu in 1972 at age 69 as Master Sun and Chen, portraying disciplined, stoic figures whose gravitas and philosophical presence lent the show its authentic Eastern ambience. On screen, he embodied an air of authority and moral clarity, the archetypal master whose quiet strength shaped the narrative's ethical and spiritual dimensions. Liu's early life in Hawaii was shaped by a multicultural environment and modest means, with formative years spent navigating racial prejudice and social marginalization that instilled resilience and a meticulous approach to craft. Career-defining events included being typecast as Japanese villains during World War II, roles he accepted with professional pride despite the moral ambiguities and public scrutiny they entailed, and later achieving recognition as a sophisticated character actor in films such as The Man with the Golden Gun. Personal life challenges included balancing a demanding Hollywood career with family obligations, particularly as husband to agent Bessie Liu, and managing the pressures of a high-profile career during periods of intense cultural tension. Liu's journey after these professional and personal trials reflected persistence, dedication to craft, and the cultivation of a professional reputation unblemished by scandal. He passed away on November 20, 1983 in Los Angeles from a cerebral hemorrhage at age 80, leaving a net worth estimated at $1 to $2 million, accumulated through decades of steady employment and judicious investments. His legacy endures not only in his memorable performances that shaped American perceptions of Asian characters but also in the quiet resilience and adaptability that defined both his career and the broader experience of Asian actors navigating mid-20th century Hollywood. John Fujioka, born on June 29, 1925, appeared in Kung Fu in 1973 at age 48 as Cook in Xiang, embodying characters whose wisdom, reserve, and spiritual grounding lent gravitas and authenticity to the series' narrative tapestry. Fujioka's portrayals of martial arts masters and Japanese holdout soldiers were marked by a calm intensity, imbuing the screen with quiet authority that contrasted with the show's often frenetic action sequences. He was born in Ole, Hawaii, to a family of Japanese descent, growing up amidst the complexities of racial prejudice and cultural expectation in early 20th century America. His formative years were shadowed by subtle discrimination and social isolation, compelling him to internalize his emotions and cultivate resilience, traits that would inform the stoicism and dignity of his later roles. Fujioka's life was shaped by personal courage and quiet defiance. He openly lived as a gay man with his partner Gerald Lentes at a time when Hollywood offered little acceptance, navigating professional landscapes where typecasting and cultural stereotyping were constant threats. His career included moments of tension, as he contended with narrow role opportunities and occasional sidelining due to ethnicity, yet he persevered, leveraging his intellect as a sociology graduate and Army intelligence translator to bring layered understanding to his characters. Fujioka passed away on December 13, 2018 in Los Angeles, California, at age 93, leaving a net worth estimated between $1 to $2 million, reflecting decades of careful professional work. His enduring legacy lies not only in his memorable screen presence but also in his quiet trailblazing for LGBTQ+ representation and authentic cultural portrayal, a testament to his resilience and principled approach to life in an often unforgiving industry. Leslie Nielsen, born on November 2, 1926, appeared in Kung Fu in 1975 at age 49 as Vincent Corbino, a morally complex and intense character whose presence created a sharp counterpoint to the philosophical and spiritual tenor of the series. Nielsen's role demanded a balance of authority, threat, and subtle menace, showcasing his dramatic versatility before his later reinvention as a comedy legend. He was born in Regina, Saskatchewan, Canada, and endured a childhood marked by a strict, often abusive father and early struggles with partial deafness, which fostered both a resilience and a keen observational skill that informed his performances. Nielsen's personal life was a series of intense highs and challenging lows, serving in the Royal Canadian Air Force, studying acting in New York, and later navigating 4 marriages, parenthood, and the relentless pressures of Hollywood. He experienced professional disappointments, including critical failures and the unpredictability of casting, yet continually adapted, eventually transforming into a master of deadpan comedy in Airplane and The Naked Gun, which cemented his cultural imprint. Beyond career, Nielsen faced health challenges and the emotional weight of public scrutiny, yet he maintained a disciplined work ethic and a reputation for generosity and mentorship. He died on November 28, 2010 in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, at age 84 from pneumonia, leaving an estimated net worth of $20 million, encompassing real estate, residuals, and intellectual property. His legacy is monumental, a rare blend of dramatic gravitas and comedic genius that influenced multiple generations, leaving behind a body of work celebrated for versatility, resilience, and the enduring ability to transform tragedy and challenge into performance art that continues to inspire. Benson Fong was born on October 10, 1916 in Sacramento, California, and appeared in Kung Fu from 1972 onward, beginning at age 56, portraying characters such as Han Fei and Liu. On screen, Fong exuded a quiet authority and profound wisdom, lending authenticity and gravitas to the show's spiritual and philosophical themes. His presence brought cultural depth at a time when authentic Asian representation in Hollywood was scarce, making him a respected figure among audiences who valued nuanced portrayals over stereotypical caricatures. Born to Chinese immigrant parents, Fan grew up navigating poverty, prejudice, and the pressures of a racially segregated America. Childhood experiences of discrimination and economic hardship compelled him to develop resilience and a stoic demeanor, often concealing vulnerability behind sharp wit and relentless determination. Professionally, Fan's trajectory was shaped by both opportunity and limitation. Though he earned acclaim for roles in Charlie Chan, Flower Drum Song, and The Love Bug, he frequently faced typecasting in Hollywood's systemic marginalization of Asian actors, limiting leading roles despite undeniable talent. Off-screen, he built a parallel career as an entrepreneur, founding the Ah Fong's restaurant chain, demonstrating business acumen and a desire for financial independence. His personal life remained largely private and scandal-free, allowing him to cultivate a reputation as reliable, intelligent, and ethically grounded. Fan passed away on August 1, 1987 in Los Angeles at age 70 from a stroke. His net worth at death was estimated around $1 to $2 million, reflecting combined earnings from acting and business ventures. Beyond material wealth, his legacy lies in cultural representation, mentorship of younger Asian actors, and a body of work that brought dignity and depth to Hollywood portrayals of Asian characters, quietly challenging the industry's biases while leaving a lasting impression on viewers who appreciated authenticity and gravitas. Ted Gehring was born on June 4, 1929 in Bisbee, Arizona, and appeared in Kung Fu in 1974 as Fuller in Sarnicki at age 45. Gehring's characters were grounded, skeptical, and often antagonistic, providing a counterbalance to Kane's serene philosophical presence. On screen, he embodied the tension between brute pragmatism and spiritual insight, making his performances compelling for audiences drawn to the moral and ethical conflicts of frontier life. Born into a modest working-class family in Arizona, Gehring endured a childhood marked by economic scarcity and social expectation, developing resilience, self-reliance, and an ability to project toughness, qualities that would define his career. Over decades in film and television, including appearances in Alice, Battlestar Galactica, and The Thomas Crown Affair, he was frequently cast as authority figures, sheriffs, or hardened men, and while his work was steady, he encountered the frustrations of being typecast, overlooked for nuanced roles, and battling the industry's indifference toward versatile character actors. Gehring's private life was relatively stable but solitary, marked by quiet dedication to craft rather than public spectacle, and he avoided scandal or controversy, cultivating a reputation as professional yet intensely private. Later life brought health struggles, including the lung cancer that ultimately claimed him, and professional reflection on a body of work built more on reliability than fame. He died on September 28, 2000 in Steelville, Missouri, at age 71. His net worth at death was likely under $1 million, representing decades of consistent supporting work. Gehring's legacy lies in his embodiment of believable, grounded characters that enhanced the realism of 1970s television and film dramas, leaving an understated yet significant imprint on audiences and collaborators alike, demonstrating that subtlety and craft often outweigh headline recognition and enduring influence. Albert Salmi was born on November 3, 1927 in Brooklyn, New York, and appeared in Kung Fu in 1972 as Rafe and Reuben Branch at age 45. Salmi's characters were intense, emotionally conflicted, and morally complex, often portraying the darker, more unsettling dimensions of frontier life, providing a stark counterpoint to Kane's contemplative heroism. Born into a working-class family in Brooklyn, Salmi faced a childhood punctuated by struggle, urban hardship, and exposure to the harsher realities of American life, shaping his sensitivity and the raw emotional depth he later brought to stage and screen. Professionally, he trained at the Actors Studio, cultivating a precise, emotionally resonant style that garnered acclaim in The Twilight Zone, Daniel Boone, and The Brothers Karamazov. Yet, behind the talent lay personal turmoil, his struggles with severe depression, marital discord, and intense emotional volatility remained largely private until culminating in the tragic murder-suicide of his estranged wife and himself on April 22, 1990 in Spokane, Washington, at age 63. This catastrophic act overshadowed his artistic achievements, leaving a haunting coda to a distinguished career. His net worth at death was estimated at $1 to $2 million, accrued through more than 150 screen credits, yet the most enduring aspect of his legacy is the profound intensity and authenticity he brought to roles exploring moral ambiguity and human frailty. Despite the horror of his final act, Salmi is remembered within acting circles for his extraordinary commitment to craft, his ability to channel inner darkness into performance, and the enduring influence of his nuanced portrayals on generations of television and film actors seeking to convey emotional truth. John Carradine was born on February 5, 1906, in New York City and appeared in Kung Fu in 1972 as Reverend Serenity Johnson at age 66. Portraying a wandering preacher whose eccentricity, philosophical depth, and moral authority provided a striking counterpoint to the show's martial arts-centered narrative. On screen, Carradine's gaunt visage, resonant voice, and commanding physical presence made him a figure of both awe and empathy, embodying wisdom tempered by life's hardship. Behind the scenes, his life was equally dramatic. Born into a working-class family, he faced financial insecurity, early loss of relatives, and repeated teasing, which led him to cultivate both resilience and a performative bravado that would later define his acting style. Carradine endured multiple failed marriages, personal financial instability, and the pressures of maintaining a large family, fathering an acting dynasty that included David, Keith, and Robert Carradine. His career, though prolific with over 350 film and television credits, was punctuated by professional volatility, periods of underemployment, and occasional typecasting that left him frustrated and searching for meaningful work. Personal tragedies, including the deaths of close family members, recurrent health crises, and the strain of managing both personal and professional expectations, shaped a man who channeled pain into craft, mentoring his children and remaining tirelessly active on stage and screen. Carradine's resilience allowed him to continue performing despite setbacks, cultivating an enduring legacy of versatility and gravitas, though financial security remained modest. He died on November 27, 1988, in Milan, Italy, at age 82. His net worth at death was estimated at $1 to $2 million, encompassing royalties, personal property, and modest savings. While not a wealthy man, Carradine's cultural imprint is vast, influencing generations of actors and character performers, his life a testament to both the glamour and the hidden cost of Hollywood's relentless pace, leaving untold stories of familial tension, perseverance, and artistry behind the curtain of fame. Sun Tae-ko was born on June 29, 1932, in Mokpo, Korea, under Japanese colonial rule, and appeared in Kung Fu in 1973 as Chen-yi in Quan Chen at age 41, embodying disciplined, contemplative characters whose moral integrity and internal conflicts mirrored the series' exploration of Eastern philosophy within a Western milieu. Oh's childhood was fraught with hardship. He grew up under oppressive colonial governance, experiencing social marginalization and cultural dislocation, and was exposed early to poverty and instability that left psychological and emotional scars. These formative experiences shaped his lifelong dedication to authenticity, cultural representation, and mentorship. His career was trailblazing but challenging. As an Asian American actor in the 1960s and 1970s, he confronted persistent typecasting, industry prejudice, and the struggle to secure substantive roles, while balancing family obligations and the weight of representing a marginalized community. Oh faced personal tragedy later in life, including the progressive decline from Alzheimer's disease, which robbed him of his memory and independence, creating a prolonged period of emotional and logistical strain for himself and his family. Yet, he responded to adversity with resilience, founding the East-West Players Theater Company to champion Asian American talent, teaching at the Seoul Institute of the Arts, and lending his voice to significant cultural works such as F.A. Zhou and Disney's Mulan. His influence extended far beyond acting. He became a mentor, advocate, and symbol of perseverance. Oh passed away on April 4, 2018, in Los Angeles at age 85. At the time of his death, his net worth was estimated at $2 million, including personal property, royalties, and intellectual contributions. While modest in material terms, his legacy is profound, encompassing decades of advocacy, mentorship, and barrier-breaking performances, leaving an indelible mark on Hollywood's evolving understanding of Asian American representation and cultural authenticity, alongside numerous untold stories of resilience, struggle, and quiet heroism behind the camera. Though time has passed, the laughter they gave us still echoes. The cast of Kung Fu brought joy to millions, and even though some of them are no longer with us, their performances live on. As we remember those we've lost, we also celebrate the legacy they left behind, one that continues to entertain and connect generations. Thank you for joining us in honoring these unforgettable stars. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more tributes to the legends of television history.